Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into a field that's, well, it's more than just a buzzword. It's a crucial part of, building a better future for everyone. Equality and inclusion managers.
Right.
Whether you're just, starting out in this career path or you've got tons of experience, this deep dive is for you. We've got this fantastic career guide from RoleCatcher, and let me tell you, it is jam-packed with insights. So if you're passionate about fairness in the workplace, buckle up.
It's interesting when people hear equality and inclusion manager, they kind of think it's all about just, ticking boxes on a checklist.
Yeah.
But this guide really digs into the heart of the role. It's about really shaping that workplace culture where everyone feels seen and heard and valued.
It's like, imagine a workplace where everyone feels like they belong, regardless of their background.
Exactly.
So RoleCatcher starts by tackling that big question. What does an equality and inclusion manager actually do?
Yeah, they're really like the architects of a more equitable workplace.
Okay.
They develop the blueprints, the policies and procedures that promote affirmative action. And just so we're all on the same page, affirmative action, these are policies that aim to increase opportunities for groups that have been historically underrepresented.
Okay, so they're drafting policies and making sure things are above board, but it's not just a desk job, is it?
Oh, absolutely not.
RoleCatcher mentions that they're interacting with people from, like, entry-level employees all the way up to the top executives.
Yeah, a pretty wide range of people. And we
Yeah.
can't forget about the folks outside the company walls, the external stakeholders like government agencies and advocacy groups. They're working with them to make sure everything's legally sound.
Wow. It's amazing how much this role touches every level of an organization, inside and out.
It's very dynamic.
Yeah, it's not just paperwork and policies. You're really dealing with people
Absolutely.
and their experiences.
Yeah.
So we've got that legal framework, but RoleCatcher really emphasizes the human element of this job too.
Right, and that's where the real magic happens, guiding and supporting individuals. It's about ensuring that everyone feels included and respected. It's not about, pointing fingers or enforcing rules. This is about building bridges and fostering genuine understanding.
It's like being a cultural ambassador within a company.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Now, let's say someone's interested in this field. What does climbing that ladder look like? What's the typical career path?
Well, RoleCatcher outlines a pretty clear progression, but here's where it gets interesting. Like, a lot of people think, it's a straight shot from maybe HR,
Yeah.
but a lot of equality and inclusion managers actually start in marketing roles, surprisingly,
Oh, wow.
because they bring that valuable experience of understanding diverse audiences and tailoring communication to different groups.
That's fascinating. I never would have thought about the marketing angle. So it's not just a linear path.
Yeah.
There are different entry points into this field.
Exactly. And as you progress, you might start as an assistant, right, helping with research or maybe implementing those policies we talked about.
Yeah.
Then you can move on to coordinating training programs.
Okay.
And that's where those communication skills really come into play.
Yeah.
And then eventually you could be leading the charge, right? You could be designing the entire equality and inclusion strategy for an organization.
Wow. So RoleCatcher, they actually give like examples of what it looks like to be in these different stages.
Yeah, they break it down with these day in the life of examples from assistant to manager.
Oh, that's super useful. It's one thing to hear about the career path, but actually getting a glimpse into the day-to-day really makes it click.
Absolutely. And speaking of clicking, let's talk about the skills needed for this kind of work.
Okay.
It's more than just, being passionate about equality.
Yeah, passion's a great starting point.
Yeah.
But what else is in that toolbox?
Well, you need a solid understanding of the legal stuff, diversity, equity, affirmative action policies. You got to know the rules of the game.
Right.
But communication is key.
Yeah.
Remember those diverse audiences we were talking about?
Yeah.
You're interacting with people from all walks of life, so being able to communicate clearly, listen actively, and adapt your approach to different people and situations, that's huge.
It's like you could have the best policies in the world, but if you can't communicate them effectively,
It's not going to work.
they're not going to have much impact.
Exactly. And speaking of impact, RoleCatcher brings up this really interesting point about conflict resolution.
Okay.
They say that navigating tricky situations where maybe an employee feels excluded or there is a misunderstanding about a policy, that's a big part of the job.
That makes sense. You're dealing with sensitive issues and different perspectives.
Yeah,
Things are bound to come up. Does RoleCatcher give any examples of how to handle those situations?
they do. They do. They have this great example of navigating this tricky situation where an employee felt excluded from networking opportunities because of their cultural background.
Oh, wow.
And RoleCatcher recommends, first having that one-on-one conversation to really understand the employee's perspective,
Okay.
and then working with, the organizers to maybe create more inclusive networking events in the future. It's about addressing the immediate concern, but also looking at the bigger picture.
It's like you said before, building bridges, right? Finding solutions that benefit everyone.
Exactly.
So communication, conflict resolution.
Yeah.
What other skills are we talking about here?
Let's see. RoleCatcher also highlights critical thinking, writing, persuasion, even negotiation.
Wow.
It's about analyzing situations, crafting compelling arguments, finding common ground. These invaluable skills in any field, really.
It's like you're saying you're building this arsenal of skills that can apply to way more than this one specific role, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something RoleCatcher emphasizes. They say even if you decide to explore a different career path later on, the experience you get as an equality and inclusion manager is so valuable. It's
Yeah.
like a masterclass in communication, problem solving, creating positive change.
Absolutely. It's not just about specializing. It's about becoming a well-rounded professional.
Right.
And speaking of valuable resources, we've got to talk about RoleCatcher itself.
Yeah.
This guide is great, but their platform sounds like it's amazing.
It goes above and beyond just career advice.
Yeah.
They've got all these tools to help people land a job in this field or even make a career transition, which a lot of people find daunting.
Yeah.
One thing that really caught my eye was their AI-powered resume builder. You can actually tailor your resume to a specific job description,
Oh, wow.
which is genius
Yeah.
because it's not just listing your skills, it's about highlighting the ones that really matter to that particular employer.
That makes a ton of sense. In today's job market, standing out from the crowd is like the key,
Right. And it's not just about catching the recruiter's eye, it's about demonstrating that you really understand the role and you've got the skills to back it up.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they also have this massive database of interview questions.
Right.
We're talking like 120,000 questions.
120,000. It's like having a cheat sheet for your interview.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like RoleCatcher is saying, interviews can be nerve-wracking, so here's everything you need to walk in there feeling confident and prepared.
Yeah.
They even have this feature where you can record yourself answering practice questions and get AI-powered feedback.
Oh, wow. So you can fine-tune your answers.
Exactly.
Get rid of any, nervous habits or anything like that.
You've thought of everything.
It's like having a personal career coach,
Yeah.
right there,
Right.
guiding you every step of the way.
So to sum it all up, we've talked about what equality and inclusion managers actually do, which is way more than meets the eye. We explored the career path, those essential skills,
Yeah.
and even how RoleCatcher can be a game changer in your job search.
And here's where things get really interesting. We've been focusing on corporate environments this whole time, but what about all those other places where these skills are needed?
Yes. This is what I love about this field, It's not limited to just one type of workplace.
Right.
Think about nonprofits, schools, government agencies.
Yeah.
They need to create inclusive environments too.
It's like the work of an equality and inclusion manager can have this ripple effect.
Exactly.
Going beyond just one company and kind of influencing entire industries or even communities.
That's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah.
It's about creating a more just and equitable world for everyone, no matter where they work or learn or live.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now that is a powerful thought to end on. So if you are looking for a career that's more than just a job, a career where you can make a real difference, maybe being an equality and inclusion manager is your calling.
It could be, yeah. And if you're ready to take that next step, remember, RoleCatcher is there to help.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.